Call this meeting to order. Tuesday, July 20, 2021, 7 p.m. City of Somerton regular council meeting. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Councilman Galindo, can you please lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Roll call.
Gerardo Naya.
Present.
Vice Mayor Juan Castillo.
Present.
Councilmember Carlos Gonzalez.
Present.
Councilmember Jesus Roldan. Councilmember Luis Galindo.
Present.
Councilmember Marta Garcia, sorry. And Councilmember Miguel Villalpando.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Can call to the public. Anybody from the public wishing to address council?
Yes.
Chris Camarena.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Chris Camarena, address 10138 East 38th Lane, Yuma, Arizona 85365. I'm one of the owners of 24/7 Get Fit, along with my partner, Jesus Manuel Caudillo, and Mr. Awar. Mr. Awar apologizes he couldn't make it here today. His father has a few days left and he had to fly out to be with him. Thank you for allowing us to present 24/7 Get Fit during the last council meeting. Today, you're voting on Lot 7 and 8. I hope you had the chance to review the corrected RFP that was provided yesterday by staff for Lot 5, 7, and 8. All three lots together as one bid. Lot 5 being for our new car wash, and 5, 7, and 8 being for our new 24/7 Get Fit facility. We have Mr. Naja Dias, our engineer, here for any questions you may have regarding our buildings, and myself here to answer any questions regarding the business operations. Once again, we thank you for allowing us to serve the Somerton community with our very first 24/7 Get Fit over the last 5 years, and we look forward to continue to serve it. Please keep in mind when making your decision today that we tailor to everybody in our facilities, not just experienced lifters. We offer daycare services to children as young as 6 months old and classes throughout the day, plus much more for the best prices in town, making our services ideal for the families in Somerton. Please consider and review the petition signed by hundreds of Somerton residents attached to our bid wanting the services that 24/7 Get Fit has to offer. We're also looking forward to serving the Somerton community with our new car wash. We are proud to start our first one here once again in Somerton. We planted our roots here on day one. We are proud to be part of this great community. We never waited or hesitated to start our business here in Somerton. We hope this community feels the same about us. We thank you for your consideration of our expansion and new business venture here in the great city of Somerton. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public wishing to address council?
Jesus Cervantes.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Jesus Cervantes, address 1034 North Somerton Avenue. I am here as both a member of the public and as a vice chair of the Somerton Parks and Rec Commission. I am here because my fellow commissioners asked me to present a concern that was brought up. It had to do with the membership of our Parks and Rec Commission members. I know there's been discussion that the item is not open for true discussion, that it would just be an action item. At least that's the way it was presented to us by city staff. And that's what kind of spurred our call to the public, that we have a concern that I guess let me rewind. There is background to it. City ordinance, which established the Parks and Rec Commission back in 2005, identifies the number of non-city residents that can be on the commission. I believe there was a miscommunication somewhere where it was believed that the commission changed that, but it actually is the city ordinance. And that's where the concern arose, because we did have a non-city resident show interest in the commission, and it appears, or at least optically, that opportunity may have been pulled from them because city ordinance was not modified, paused, or at least put to the side. So from our point of view, it does appear that the city ordinance is still in effect, which would allow the commission individual, I should say, that is interested in becoming a commission member, the opportunity to present before city council. Now, we do understand that the city would like to move to city residents, but as a commission, we would like to see if there is any wiggle room, at least where concessions can be made, because it would be detrimental to some of our residents that live out in the counties and not necessarily within city limits to not give them the opportunity to possibly serve on the Parks and Rec Commission. Although, if you look at the data, City of Somerton does have a wide expanse when it comes to city limits, but we do have residents that live like maybe less than half a mile away from city limits, which do have kids that participate in our rec programs and do add to participation in general. So I think it would behoove to us to really have somebody from maybe that aspect to be part of the commission. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, it just looks bad optically because it looks like there may be selective enforcement of a city ordinance where a member was told that they were not eligible even though the city ordinance is still in play. And I'm referencing City Ordinance 291, adopted March 15th of 2005. So this has actually been in play for over 16 years now. It is not anything new. We just wanted to point that out. And as a commission, if requested by council, I am able to provide a breakdown in a packet that goes over dates and items should it be requested for further discussion. With that being said, that's why I'm here. I just wanted to bring that up, that it was a concern and that we were to occur regarding that subject, that was a done deal, which in my opinion is not the correct action or avenue that have been taken. Thank you. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. Yeah, and get with city manager and discuss, and then we'll look at it, and maybe we can put it back in a future agenda item.
Mayor and Council, just to remind Mayor and Council that our city ordinance does allow for non-city residents to serve, but at the end of the day, it's really the city council that decides who gets to serve. So it's not a guarantee, even if you're a city resident, that the mayor and council would accept a candidate. So that's still within your discretion and authority.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public wishing to address council?
Alexis Leggett.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and City Council. I am actually interested in being on the Parks and Recreation Commission. So I just wanted to read you the letter of interest that I had submitted. It says, I, Alexis Marie Leggett, would like to submit this as my letter of interest to serve on the City of Somerton's Parks and Recreation Commission. I'm a current Somerton resident with both my physical and mailing address being 16500 South Avenue A, half, Somerton, Arizona 85350. This address is where we consider to be our forever home. To us, this means our children ages 6 and 3 will grow up in Somerton, and it's where they will have most of their memories made. They will attend school here in Somerton, and it is where they'll enjoy the parks and recreational facilities and events. We're excited to see them attending Orange Grove this coming year and see our daughter performing in Ballet Folklorico, hopefully here soon, and we're excited to see our son flourish here. Aside from seeing our children grow up here in Somerton, it means a lot that we have several friends, many of which are longtime residents whose children have also grown up or are growing up in Somerton. We also have family that are longtime residents of this wonderful community. These are the most important reasons as to why I'm interested in becoming a part of the City of Somerton's Parks and Recreation Commission. And then a little bit of my background. 2 years I served as a CASA, and I have been a part of a few of the committees within the Yuma Southwest Contractors Association, many of which were fundraising event committees. And I'm a recent graduate of the 2021 Arizona Partners in Leadership Training Program. I hope that these things will all be considered in my request to serve on the Parks and Recreation Commission. I'd also like to let everybody know I spent many of my childhood years here in Somerton going with my nana and tata to the senior center when it was located kind of on the other street from Fulton, right next to Council Park. And, I remember going and picking up leaves from Mr. Fred that lived across the street. And I went to the Head Start program here. I wanted to share a couple of things too. I don't know if I just put on the USB. Sorry, how do I get to the screen?
We need to give you access.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. The mouse isn't working. Oh, there we go. So I just wanted to show everyone where I live. It's that big purple star. I'm literally half a mile from what's considered to be within city limits. And the reason why I first
can't view it.
The Parks and Recreations Commission is because I just kept calling about Ballet Folklorico, one of the events I'm really interested in my daughter attending. And I just kept being told that, none of the programs were active. And I was like, okay. And I'd wait, a few months and they'd tell me, oh, a few more months. And I'd call again in a few more months and I'd call again. So finally I said, what's going on? Where can we find out why the programs haven't picked back up? What specifically are the reasons? And I was told there wasn't really anywhere to go. And I knew that, there is. We can come to the council meetings and Parks and Recreations Commission. And I just started finding out more. I went on a ride along with Mr. Rodney Reinhardt, and I looked at all the different parks and just different things that the city is doing. But anyways, this is what drove me, is I just really want to get my daughter back into Ballet Folklorico and see what, Somerton grow like it has been. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public wishing to address council?
Joanna Estro.
Hello, Mayor and City Council. My name is Joanna Estro with address 2530 South 41st Avenue, Yuma, Arizona. I'm also a commissioner. I serves on the Parks and Rec Commission, and I'm calling to the public right now. So you just heard my fellow commissioner Jesus Cervantes and Ms. Lidget's describe right now. So one was allowing the same policy that has been established since 2005 to remain. As you can see, there's a lot of people that do serve without a personal agenda, but they serve for the community, and that's what we want to embrace and keep on nurturing people that are like that and want to do that in our community. And also the other point of that last month when Ms. Lidget's proposal was cut off and it wasn't supposed to be, that was not what should have happened. And so I'm glad that she was able to speak today. And that's it.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public wishing to address council?
That's all the speaker request forms I received.
Is it going to be the same? Because I think we get the point. Yeah, so yeah. Now, if you can speak to, I invite the commission to speak to the city manager, and but we understand your concerns, and also have Mr. Mesa there, and because staff was the one that recommended that the policy change. So, but if you're going to repeat, if it's something different, then go ahead.
Mine is a little bit different. Which is Francisco Vasquez, 46 West Front Street, Mayor and City Council members. I was surprised, basically. I was here to support and to welcome 2 new members, and it caught me by surprise. After, knowing that both of the applicants live here in the City of Somerton. That's basically it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public wishing to address council? Okay, we're gonna move on to consent agenda.
Mayor, if you will, we need to table 5.3
Okay,
on consent agenda.
okay.
Pull and table.
Okay, so we're gonna remove, and the motion is to have that we're gonna table item 3, right? So
Yes.
We have 2 items: approval of minutes for July 6th meeting, 2021, and approval of IGA between Somerton School District and City of Somerton for school resource officer for fiscal year 21-22. Does any member of council want to remove an item from consent agenda? Is there a motion?
So, Mayor.
Mayor.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'll make the motion to approve and table that item as stated by our city manager.
Okay, there's a motion by Councilman Villalpando, second by Galindo. Okay, second by Councilman Galindo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, yeah, it was like 2 tables. Okay, we have 1 presentation on all matters regarding to the 4th of July event.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Brisa Garcia, Special Event Coordinator. And this is the first time I'm doing a PowerPoint presentation. So our event was very successful. We had 5,000 people attend the event. We had over 20 food vendors, and we actually made our goal of the 57,000 water balloons. We started at 6 in the morning and we were done by 12. Our senior center made $1,708.91, and a special thank you to Desert Water and Pepsi because they sponsored our senior center. And Parks and Recreation Commission made $3,449.20. Next slide. And of course, there's always stuff that we can work on. Some of the stuff that we are going to work on for next year would be logistic issues, shifts with staff, better placement with food vendors. Even though we planned where we were going to put each food vendor, stuff happens on the day of the event and we had to do some changes. But just keep focusing on what food vendors bring the big lines and just try and place them in areas where it's not gonna jeopardize the crowd. Our fireworks would be moved to 9:30. After the fireworks were over, a lot of the people left. So we're thinking maybe if we keep it at 9:30, we'll have more of our people stay. Of course, it was a very 50-50 how could I say this? We didn't know if it was going to be a 50-50 chance of our people staying because a lot of people do work on Mondays. We're very blessed, the ones that are able to be off for 4th of July. So that also had to do a lot with people leaving. A lot of people had to work on Monday. For our countdown, we will start the countdown for our water balloons a little bit faster because the kids were eager to start. Our audio, a lot of people had mentioned that they couldn't hear, and I wasn't very satisfied with the LED screen. I couldn't see our sponsors, so that's something that we need to work on for our next event and always communicate better with my staff. We met with the whole team on what we could do better next year, what I could do better as a coordinator, and one of the things they had mentioned direction of what they had to do during the event and how to start the event, but they were a little bit confused of what to do when the event was over. So that's something that we would work on. Any questions regarding some of the bullet points that I have on the screen? Good. Next slide. Our total cost was $51,078.53. In-kind services, we had $12,850. And in food vendor, we had $1,800. Next slide. And of course, a special thank you to my city staff and their family. Without them, this event would have not been a successful event. It took a village to do this event. And this picture I wanted to share because that's some of the staff that was working and giving out free watermelons to our community. And that's a wrap. Any questions?
Any questions or comments? Councilman Villalpando, any questions?
No, I'm good, Mayor. You know, it was like Risa said, it was a pretty successful event. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully next year we could probably do a little bit better. You know, one of the things is monitoring probably outside alcohol. I did run into a couple of people that had outside alcoholic beverages, which that's a big no-no.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Thank you.
And Andrea has your guys' shirts.
Moving on to old business. Discussion and possible action to approve a new classification and salary plan for all positions with the City of Service for fiscal year 22.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As stated on the agenda, this is old business. And what we have in front of you is still the proposal of going forward with a new classification and compensation plan. We're also entertaining a motion to provide a 2% cost of living adjustment for all employees within the city service. So as you know, some of the history, the staff, including the city manager, the finance director, the city attorney, and HR and payroll, we had several meetings in order to put a plan. And we've always, we've also met with the mayor and some city council members with this new proposal. Market adjustment is being proposed for only 56 out of 130 full-time positions. That is less than 44% of our current workforce. Market adjustment at this time is not proposed for current department heads. That will continue to be analyzed and brought forward in the future if council so desires. Emphasis was placed on market adjustments for hard to retain and recruit positions as well as high turnover positions. So this plan addresses several turnover and positions that are hard to recruit, such as our dispatchers in the police department. Of course, our firefighters and EMTs are always positions that are turning over, and we need to attract and retain some of those public safety personnel. Our mechanics, our maintenance worker ones, our wastewater operators, as well as our treatment plant operators, and our information technology help desk are usually the positions that that we end up hiring and are being whisked away by other entities, other government entities across town. And this plan addresses that. This plan, I think, makes it equitable. We come close to San Luis. We come close to the city of Yuma, at least in terms of pay. This plan has been presented previously. It's currently up on the screen. What we're asking is a motion to approve the classification and salary plan for all positions within the city service for fiscal year 2020 as presented, exclusive of department heads. At a previous council meeting, the council asked a couple of questions of our finance director as to whether or not this plan was sustainable. Therefore, the item was tabled. We believe that throughout the past 10 years, we've been working within the same type of workforce. We've added a few new positions, but overall it's been sustainable as well as our revenues have increased. I believe if you have any questions, we can defer to our city manager or the finance director to address any issues regarding the sustainability of the classification plan.
Mayor and Council, if you will, look at on your screen, you'll see PowerPoint that's also going to be part of the budget discussion. If you look at the trend from 2016 to 2021, the question obviously came about if it's sustainable. As you can see, the revenues on city sales tax and state sales tax has exponentially from at least 4 years, but if you look at the 10-year cycle, it has increased double that amount. From 2007 to 2010, obviously you can see the story of what happened at that time with our the housing crisis that occurred. So if you look at that amount from 2007, 1.3, and then at 2010, 2011, you had the same amount of 1.3. So you did see that low point. And then as the years progressed, the amount of sales tax, income tax, and city sales tax as well has doubled in that time. Now that's the story as far as the revenues are concerned. One item that the attorney also did mention was back then, I looked at the FTEs that was audited back in 2013 and then went back to 2004. At that time, we had 130 FTEs. Currently, we have 138.5. Mind you, some of those are part-time employees. And also, we did add some other positions that included IT as technology increases. So we need to add some sort of service to that area, HR, and obviously animal control as well. So those are major additions that we added. So in all, the sustainability is there because we have shown the revenues and that story behind that. In addition to that, by sustaining especially our fire department with a comparable salary, we probably will save ourselves about $125,000 a year just on that alone by retaining staff, looking at about 5 staff members, because it costs us a little bit over $20,000 to train them. Now, that being said, at least for the fire department, also research states that if anybody who is retained, you save yourself anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000. But if the person leaves, that's the amount of money that it took you to train that person to stay in our city or any organization. And by the time it's all said and done, if they leave, you just lost another additional $20,000, $5,000 to $20,000. So that's a way of looking at that. Obviously, the CIPs that we currently have are one-time things that hopefully, this pandemic doesn't ever occur again, but those stimulus funds did help with those CIPs. So that definitely is a huge plus, obviously. But the other things that we have not taken into consideration in the past and obviously on the revenue side and then in the future is our Wayfair or internet sales that are close to $200,000 just in internet sales alone for the city. And then obviously new retail stores that are coming. We actually just had a conversation with them today, and it looks very positive for them to finish whatever construction they're doing at this point. So even that alone with that retail, it will be more than just sustainable at that point as well, just for that one area. Obviously, we do have the commercial development that is coming in the next 2 years, 23, 24. Most likely that'll occur, and within that same time frame, you will be receiving more housing and apartment complexes coming down the pipeline. So not only will you see the revenues coming from those income tax, but you'll see from the retail of all the commercial area, the high school, and the housing that's coming down the pipeline as well. And the last but not least, some of our debt will end up getting paid within this period of time as well. So that's why it is sustainable.
Any questions, comments?
Yeah, I'm just glad this happened, that we're going to be able to give the raise, but I'm concerned also, we said 44% only. What are we doing? Are we thinking something for the 56% are we doing something in the future, or what are we?
So Councilman Galindo, so the plan that's being proposed today will be a cost of living adjustment for all staff at 2%. The other cities and towns across the county have already approved their cost of living adjustment. We're not that far, but that's the proposal. So 2% for everyone. Now, was it 56 of our workforce will get a little bit more than 2% because they'll be raised to the new proposed plan, and therefore that'll be adjusted as well. The economic impact, as discussed in our previous meeting, was about $277,000 to our funds.
Any other questions or comments?
Mayor, may I?
Yes, Vice Mayor.
Yeah, you know what? I just want to thank Mr. Cabrera and all city staff that got together and brainstormed and made this happen. I think you answered my questions regarding the sustainability. I think it just shows really the dedication that we as a city are showing. Just being competitive with our neighboring cities. It's hard to us to compare what San Luis and Yuma with their revenues, but us putting there, I mean, that's it just shows that we if there's a way, we're gonna find it, and I'm glad that staff was able to brainstorm and problem solve and make it happen. So thank you for that, and if it's sustainable, I'm all for it.
Any other questions or comments?
Mayor, this is Councilman Villalpando. I have a comment.
Go ahead, Councilman Villalpando.
Okay. I'm on board with the cost of living increase and the salary adjustments. The only thing is that for cost of living increase, I strongly feel that you need to be employed at minimum of 6 months with the city. I don't feel that it's something that we need to do across the board unless they've been with us minimum of 6 months.
So Mayor and Council, I think historically, at least from what I recall, the last cost of living that was given was for employees that have been employed as of January 1st of the year. And that's if that's the proposal that Mr. Villalpando is talking about.
Any other questions, comments?
Oh, but unless it's a position that is one of those positions that will fall within the new proposed salary range.
Yes, that's why I said specifically cost of living increase.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Mayor, I make a motion to approve a classification and salary plan for all the positions within the city service for fiscal year 2022 as presented, exclusive of department heads.
What about the cost of living? Or you guys want considering the 6 months or no?
Want to include that in your motion?
I just leave it as is.
There's a motion by Councilman Gonzalez.
I have another motion too, Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilman Villalpando.
I'll make the motion to approve, but with a minimum of 6 months for the cost of living increase.
Okay, gonna entertain Councilman Gonzalez motion. Is there a second? So second by Councilwoman Garcia. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Yeah, and I want to say that I'm glad that we were able to get this figured out. It was last week. It was frustrating to say the least, but I think we came out better. There was stuff and that happened, conversations, and we were able to reach. First of all, the classification, and I want to say I see fire staff here that councils. If you've been to our council meetings, that was always our priority to get the public safety equitable to the other agencies, and I know we met with the union, and there was a member of the union in our last call to the public, and saying, but I can tell you that council's priority, even before meeting with the union, the meeting with the union didn't have any effect on our priority, which was public safety. And that's been ongoing since our retreat, if you check our minutes. So, but with that said, I'm glad that we were able to get this passed through. Okay, moving on to item number 2. Discussion and possible action to approve second reading by title only of ordinance number 2021-005, an ordinance of the mayor and City of Somerton, Arizona, amending ordinance number 2015-002 and rezoning certain areas in the city of real property described herein as parcel number 753-38-151, 0.42 acre parcel more or less, and APN 743-38-149, a 0.49 acre parcel more or less, more particularly described in Exhibit A attached here too, from R16, single family residential, to R3, multifamily residential, and rezoning parcel number 753-38-148, a 0.49 parcel more or less, and parcel number 743-38-147, 0.85 acre parcel more or less, and more particularly described on Exhibit A attached here too, from C2 commercial to R3 multifamily residential.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. This is the final step for this rezoning process. And this is a request by Ramon Arias on behalf of Pensco Trust. And there are 4 parcels that are included in this rezoning case. They are located at the southwest corner of Somerton Avenue and Madison Street. And again, this is the final step in the process. If you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer. If no questions, I will be asking for a motion to approve the second reading of this ordinance.
The condition that was added by council included this time around.
That is correct, Mr. Mayor. It was added to the condition. The additional condition on the traffic study was added to the list of conditions of approval for the rezoning case.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Mayor.
Yes.
Before we move forward with this, I also wanted to make sure that staff provides us a letter from the engineer if there is a difference in the if it makes a difference for the lift station. So I don't know if it's if it would make a difference at all, but I would recommend that staff look into that as well.
Mr. Mayor, in case we're not talking about Max subdivision. Max subdivision is the one that is going to be connected to the lift station. So
no, I'm fully aware of, but you're going from commercial to, what is it, R3?
Correct.
So there might be an increase in the production or capacity for the lift station. So I just want to make sure that that capacity is there.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So move, Mayor.
Okay. Just the motion, not with council members. You'll be Alfonso's recommendation.
we need an approval for the second reading, and if council desires to add this final as a condition of approval, we can do that.
Yeah, the ordinance itself doesn't change. The conditions of approval are something that are added on pursuant to your motion tonight, but that's a separate document that will be delivered to the developer.
Okay, so right now there's no.
So right now it's just approval, second reading, and then the approval of the ordinance. And then if you have a recommendation as to what should go on the conditions of approval, we could add those on.
Okay. We don't have a recommendation for condition of approval.
Yes, as ordinance as presented.
Okay. There's a motion by Councilman Gonzalez.
Second, Mayor.
Second by Councilman Galindo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
So that's a reading, motion for second reading by title only.
Ordinance number 2021-005, an ordinance of the mayor and city of Somerton, Arizona, amending ordinance number 2015-002 and rezoning certain areas in the city for real property described herein as assessor parcel number 743-38-151, a 0.42 acre parcel more or less, and assessor parcel number 743-38-149, a 0.49 acre parcel more or less, and more particularly described on Exhibit A attached here to from R16 single family residential to R3 multifamily residential. And rezoning assessor parcel number 743-38-148, a 0.49 acre parcel more or less, and assessor parcel number 743-38-147, a 0.85 acre parcel more or less, and more particularly described on Exhibit A attached here to from C2 general commercial to R3 multifamily residential.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 2021-005?
So move, Mayor.
It's a motion by Councilman Galindo.
I'll second that.
Gonzalez, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council.
Next time, can we have Saúl, Rita?
Oh, I'll ask you.
Moving on to new business. Item number 1, discussion and possible action to appoint David Tapia to the Planning and Zoning Commission to fulfill the remainder of a term, which is set to expire in August 2021, and appointment to a new term expiring in August 2023.
Mr. Mayor, council members, there is a position open with the Planning and Zoning Commission with the resignation of Arturo Magaña Jr. So we received a letter of interest by Mr. David Tapia, and he might be here. I'm not sure because
That's right.
Oh, okay. I haven't met him personally.
Arturo Magaña Anaya.
Yes. So the recommendation from staff is the appointment of Mr. David Tapia to fulfill the remainder of this term on the Planning and Zoning Commission, which is set to expire this coming August, and also for the upcoming term. That way we don't come back before council in August to reappoint Mr. Tapia. So the remainder of the term and the next term expiring in August 2023. That would be staff recommendation. Mr. Tapia is here if you have any questions for him.
I'm gonna give a few words, or you're okay? Huh? Okay, is there a motion? So motion by Councilwoman Garcia.
I'll second that.
Second by Councilman Gonzalez, also in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you for trying to be
Thank
part of that.
Thank you,
Thank you,
David.
Mr. Mayor, council.
Item number 2, discussion and possible action to appoint Laisha M. Garcia as new member of the Somerton Parks and Rec Commission.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. This is Mr. Parks and Recreation Director. Here before you is the letter of Ms. Garcia. She's been an active member of the community, very involved with vaccine drives, food drives. I've seen her on many occasions. She's always willing to help and eager to be involved and to promote city programs. Mrs. Garcia is here present if you have any questions for her, but staff recommendation is the approval of her letter of interest.
Do you wish to say a few words? Any questions, comments?
I'm going to abstain, Mayor.
I just want to thank Mayor, if I may. I just want to thank Laisha as well as David, trying to be part of the community. And I know you always been involved in a lot of recreational as well as other stuff that have gone through the city with the vaccination. I know you being around. So that's a big plus. And I'm glad that you guys are young generation trying to get involved with the community and help out. Thank you.
Yeah, in a couple of years, you'll be here replacing us. Is there a motion?
So move here.
So motion by Councilman Gonzalez.
Second, Mayor.
Second by Councilman Galindo. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Discussion and possible action to approve resolution number 2021-009, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Somerton adopting estimates of proposed expenditures by the city of Somerton for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2022, and declaring that such shall constitute the adopted budget of the city of Somerton for such fiscal year.
Mayor and Council, I'm going to be assisting Mrs. Gallegos, Finance Director, her hard work that she has put into putting the budget forms together. When you actually see it and go through it line item by line item, your eyes go all over the place. But she did a great job, and obviously the discussion is the fiscal year 2022 budget consisting of $37,970 in expenditures with $29,189 in revenues, and other than property tax. The property tax at this point, we're still working on that for next meeting. This budget includes obviously the classification and salary plan and the market adjustment of 2% cost of living for other employees. This obviously will help the turnover rate, and especially for public safety, definitely makes a huge change. So obviously in the budget elements, you do have your cash, your revenues and expenditures. And if you see what happened this year, as far as not necessarily just the cash, obviously the cash does help a lot with on the general fund. A lot of the cash did come about by not having so much expenditures from last year, knowing that this year we were very worried that the pandemic was going to put a huge burden on us, kind of like the same thing that happened on the housing market. Everybody was scared and afraid, and by all means, we should have been. Thank God that it didn't occur that way, right? But even then, many did lose some revenues, businesses, and what have you. But for most of us, or some of us, were working from home. But at that point, obviously the expenditures became lower, but the streets and some of these other departments, they continue to work. And thanks for the stimulus funds that came in did help, obviously, our cash on hand. And that did include the wastewater and water and sanitation. As you can see, the cash, we haven't finished the fiscal year, but this is what we'll end up looking at, probably a little bit more for the following year. One thing to consider as far as the general revenue is you can see how much of our fund consists of other entities, from their franchise fees, fire revenue, park fees, which is very minimal, always has been. It's more of a level of service that we provide our community. License and permits from this, from businesses, obviously 10% from property tax, city sales tax at 24%, vehicle license from the state, that's at 8%, and state shared income tax at 20%. And our state sales tax also is about 20% as well. The shared income tax, as you know, it might drop. It is going to drop from 18 to 20 to 15, but obviously they're going to give us a 18% share. Well, actually, it's going to be, I'm sorry, the income tax will be dropped down to a flat tax rate at 2.5, but the shared income is going to be from 18 to 15, but that's not going to take effect until another year or two, I believe. Is that correct, Serena? As far as property tax allocation and sales tax rates, as you can see, our property tax levied, the City of Somerton is only at 12%. The Department of Education, Arizona Department of Education is at 3%. Yuma County is at 29%. Elementary School District at 28%. And AWC at 17%. Yuma Union High School District at 11%. And Mr. Gonzalez will give us some more information on that later today. Not on the 11%, but other good news. So at least that's the property tax allocation that we currently have. As far as the sales tax rates, our state is at 56%, county is at 11%, and the city is at 33%. And that's where we see a lot of the revenues, as you will see on the next slide, as a sales tax distribution from the first quarter through the fourth quarter. As you can see, there's been an increase from previous years. You're right for the city sales tax and tax revenue.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. There has been an increase of about 10% each year after the 2018 fiscal year for the state revenues. And for city revenues, it's been an average of between 5 and 10%. So we've seen a consistent increase in those revenue sources.
Also remember the city sales tax, it hasn't been completed yet.
Correct.
So, you know, as you see the story, it does tell you that it normally would still increase over the next couple of years, especially what's coming down the pipeline to the city of Somerton.
Yes, these are estimates. We won't receive final numbers for this current fiscal year up until probably August. You still have city sales tax trickling in for a couple months after the end of the fiscal year. I really like this slide. It gives us a great illustration of our revenues. And you can see throughout from 2005, throughout the recession and going forward. My main concern last year was the fact that we would see something like you see from 2007 to 2010, where our revenues would have decreased significantly as a result of the pandemic. Fortunately, that did not occur, and our revenues have continued to grow. I believe that's as a result of the Wayfair case that has allowed us to receive additional sales tax from online sales.
Next slide. Next one. One of the things that obviously from council and mayor and council has looked at and making sure that we do have some sort of level of service to our community, and that's through CIPs. On the last presentation, we had more CIP. We have the same CIPs as our last presentation. What we did do is move some of the CIPs, which include the previous city hall, and what we're doing there is just doing the engineering for a retrofit. So we did move that for one more year, and hopefully by then we'll have maybe might be sold, Hector. We also did move the traffic light because that was close to $300,000. That we did move it for another year. And the reason we did that, there was a couple of reasons why those two have been moved. And also this includes the movement of the artificial turf for parks. One thing that we made some of those adjustments is the Parkview Commerce Center, the high school, and the Somerton Elementary. there is over $100 million worth of projects in the town. And I want to make sure that our staff, where most of the energy is on those projects more than anything else. And some of these projects that we're going to continue having, and not only that, but construction has been quite a scheduled nightmare for many of the general contractors due to the fact that steel, lumber is not readily available. So currently right now, even the traffic light that was approved back in September, October, it just barely was received this week. So saying that traffic light is obviously, even if we would have approved it, we probably wouldn't have seen it until the next fiscal year anyways. So that would have just taken that issues until the following year. And that would include some of the artificial turf, City Hall steel in order to retrofit it. But again, I go back to the same thing, is making sure that we are focused on that development on the west side that's going to put definitely ears and eyes on us from Yuma County in its entirety. So we want to make sure that our staff is well prepared for those projects that are coming down. And mind you, at least we're talking about those two items, but the other major projects that we have, and those are we'll end up designing this year and maybe constructing the following year, depends on the design, is the third 1.2 million gallon tank that's going to be installed in order to make sure that we have enough infrastructure for our new residents and commercial development that's coming. The other one is the level of service that we have to provide our communities for any future, hopefully not, knock on wood, I guess, pandemic or any emergency issues, is the expansion of the community center. Making sure those are available for vaccines, available for any emergencies that we have to put our residents in a temporary housing, as we're looking as far as showers and kitchen, to make sure that those are very readily available to those families as well. So in essence, as far as what's the CIPs, those were the major ones that we moved. Obviously, our cash balance for the following year is at 1.4. Obviously, we do have a lot of the projects that are coming down to make sure that our residents receive that level of service that they do require.
You'll also find that our contingency is included in that number. Should we have the necessity to expend it, we have it there. However, I always take that into account when calculating those cash balances. Whether we use it or not, it's part of our budget and we have that option, or council has that option. So that's something that you should take into account. There have been several projects that have been held back as a result of the pandemic. For example, some of these trucks that you approved last year that we haven't been able to receive, just as the city manager indicated, as a result of the pandemic.
Any questions regarding the rest of the budget items?
Any questions or comments? No questions. Is the presentation over?
Yes.
Gonna entertain a motion.
I move to approve resolution. Is it this one? Okay, yes.
2021.
Number 2021-009 as presented.
I'll second that.
So motion by Councilwoman Garcia, second by Councilman Villalpando. Oh, Councilman Gonzalez, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so we're gonna go summer current events and then into executive session and then come back
For 9.4, yes. COVID-19 early warning at a level of concern 2. It's interesting, last Friday, I was a little bit worried as our levels rose to an area that we hadn't seen. On, I think, February, when the early warning lab results were taking place, they were at 35,000 mLs. And on Friday, received the results that they were at 95,000. So I was like, kind of a bit scared that we might end up going in the wrong direction. The results of today actually dropped down to 1,900. So it is a result of many of the residents vaccinating. And obviously you still get the virus, but it might not feel anything. So that's a great thing. So we're a level of concern 2. They leave it as 2 because it just sustains it when they're close to each other. By Thursday or Friday, we'll receive the following one. If it continues at a lower rate, it'll end up going back to the level of concern 1. The Arizona Department of Corrections started to send their inmates this week. They actually started at streets today, and by next week, we should have a full crew out there for parks, retention, and sanitation. So finally, we'll see those retention basins a little bit more up to par. And then Yuma Union High School, well, I'll leave that up to Mr. Gonzalez for him to answer that question of what happened today. I did have, there's 2 items, and that's from Sam Palacios. He is on vacation. He actually had a trip scheduled since last year. Fulton Street should be open by tomorrow. They were pretty much substantial completion. They were needed to finish the retaining wall and a sidewalk and a railing. So that's happening here this week. Cesar Chavez Avenue and Main Street traffic light has been received by the subcontractor and has started schedule for installation. APS, Spectrum, and CenturyLink started to remove their cables. If schedule is followed, it should be no later than mid-August as far as completion is concerned. Crossing our fingers is that everyone is following the schedule. Storm Drain project contractor continues to work on Bingham Avenue, installing the storm drain pipes, as well as County Ford is on 14th Street. In Valley Vista, approved, obviously, county is going to assist. ADEQ is going to assist with more funding of close to 200,000 additional funds. So the county is going to assist with about $109,000 as well. Chief De Anda.
Mayor and Council, first of all, thank you so much for passing the pay plan. And I want to thank City Manager Cabrera and Finance Director Zarina for all their hard work. Appreciate it. As Jerry was talking about the COVID, one of the things I mentioned in the weekly is if you look at the amount of people that were vaccinated in the 85350, it's greater than the population. So obviously people came from other places to get vaccinated. But even with taking that away, that shows that our population is one of the best vaccinated zip codes in the entire state. And as a result, you're going to see a very low rate for the Delta virus to spread. One of the things to keep in mind is that people that have been infected have been vaccinated and they're getting infected anyway or reinfected. Almost 0% of them are entering the hospital. They're fine at home. All of the hospitalizations right now are non-vaccinated people. And the sad thing is, it's the young ones right now that are being ending up in the ICU and being intubated and ventilated. So, if there's a few people out there that aren't vaccinated, I encourage the mayor and council to remind them that the vaccines are there and all they got to do is take them. We have a new employee we've hired. We still have 2 empty spots, but Nathan Rodriguez, he's a new person on board. And the third thing was we had a pretty exciting training for our guys with the Cocopah tribe and the Somerton PD. They did an active shooter training at the middle school there for 3 days in a row. And it's pretty impressive. fact, I forget which of the officers got hit in the head by one of the airsoft rounds. It actually opened up the skin. I didn't know they hit that hard. And I've been saying, oh, you big babies, they're not that bad. And they brought me pictures of where they missed the guys and they hit the sheetrock and left dents in the sheetrock. I actually gouged the sheetrock. So those pretend rounds are pretty hard. They hit you hard and they teach you a lesson. But it was an exciting thing for them to go there and see the reality of what could happen. Hopefully it never will. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Mr. Mesa.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Just want to mention that we're going to start our basketball league early August. We have 3 teams on the first category, the smaller kids. On the grasshoppers, we have 3 more, and we have 5 teams on the junior for a total of 11 teams and 85 participants, which is a good turnout. Also, we met on July 12th with the contractor from Hansberger and staff to coordinate on the scheduling, what's going to be the plan moving forward. And we're going to do a follow-up meeting to review the calendar because we have some reservations on the way starting September all the way to December. So we're going to have to work around them. Also, senior center staff served 700 meals for the month of June 2021. And that's all I have.
Chief.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I didn't want nobody to find out that the officer's ranger. I'm joking. Little things, nothing major, nothing significant. And we took care of the school to fix it up and everything. So, thanks to the school district who was very welcoming to us, and they accommodated us for 2 days for that training. But it was real good training. I think I thank the Cocopa Nation for allowing us and paying the large amount of the fee for the classroom that the officers had, the Cocopa Police Department and the tribal police officers as well. So that came out pretty good. I also want to mention that in October, we're planning for a blood drive and we're planning for an adult academy. We did have the academy interrupt our previous adult academy because of COVID, but we ended up closing it off with a couple attendants that came back. We also weren't able to complete the teen academy that we had planned for this summer because of the whole COVID. So those are some things that we're still working on. We're getting ready for the school opening. Hopefully everybody's vaccinated to get back into schools and hopefully we'll get our kids back in there. We do have the National Guard working at our station and they're also working at the Public Works Department. We have 3 young men at our station. They're helping us with some administrative duties, evidence and records. So there's 6 hands out there helping us. That's a lot. So we'll give you more information on that and share some maybe photos with you guys of some of the things that they're doing, but it's working out great for us. And lastly, we're still working on the hiring of replacing one more dispatcher and 2 officers. So that's what we have this afternoon. Thank you.
Sarina.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Right now I'm working on, it really is wrapping up the 2021 fiscal year, preparing all the state filings, as well as submitting all the information to the Arizona Auditor General. Those are really my focuses right now, as well as preparing for the water and sewer rate increases for scheduled for August. Sorry. And that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tapia.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Health for Small Business in Somerton. The Micro Business and Housing Development Corporation, PMHDC, is a certified community development financial institution serving Yuma County. The Somerton office is located in 201 North Bingham Avenue, and I had discussion with them, and they have right now lending between $1,000 to $250,000 for small businesses. So I'd like to message the local businesses. There's assistance available for Somerton small businesses. And I'm working with them pretty closely. when someone comes and trying to open a small business in Somerton, these agencies send those customers back to me, and I advise them different rules and also how to apply for building permits, also for business license. So we work together in this case, and at the same time helping to create a business plan, because this agency requires a business plan. It's not very simple, but at the same time it's required to apply for a small business loan. So again, it's between $1,000 to $250,000. So I'd like to have this notice to the community and small businesses. That's money available right now. Thank you.
Ms. Juarez.
Mr. Mayor and Council, to report that the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting that was scheduled for last night had to be postponed due to a lack of quorum. This is very unusual, but it does happen every once in a while, especially in the summer. There was one item on the agenda that was the rezoning case for the future high school land, and that will be scheduled for the August 16th meeting, regular meeting for the Planning and Zoning Commission. Also, the land use assumption and infrastructure improvement plan public hearing with council that was scheduled for August 3rd had to be postponed for a later date. And this is due to the Department of Public Safety, both departments, Police Department, Fire Department, and Public Works with the water development impact fee that is being reviewed. We'll go back to the table and review some of the projects that have been included, and there are potential projects that might be added to the plan. So these departments need additional time to review their projects, and therefore we need to move the date of the public hearing to a later date. So our guess that is going to be perhaps September by the time we come to the City Council with the public hearing. All the departments and Tischler Weiss, which is the consultant that the city hired to do this review. And lastly, today we met with the contractor community just to review the current regulations on the fence wall requirements, city requirements. We had a presentation, we had a brief presentation with them and answer some questions. Unfortunately, there was only one agency that was represented by their staff today, but we are planning on, I don't know, present later at a later date to council if it's necessary, and submit the comments that we had from the contractors.
The same one that put it in writing? The same contractor that put it in writing?
Yes, yes. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Lozano. On the HR department, that we're glad to report that we're gonna onboard a new IT person, IT help desk on Monday. That's going to be a huge relief to our current IT person who's been in every single meeting these evenings, as well as Chief Dan already mentioned that we have a new full-time firefighter coming on board, and some part-timers as well. So it's looking good. We still have some positions to fill, but we're managing with the staff that we're getting. That's all.
That concludes. Vice Mayor Castillo.
I got nothing, Mayor.
Councilman Villalpando.
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Councilman Galindo.
Yes, two questions. Sunday I was driving with my daughter around town. She's learning how to drive. And I noticed she ran the stoplight here in Union and Spring. And I said, Andrea, you run this. Oh, there's no stop sign. And I knew there's a stop sign, but it's covered with some trees. And I, just pay attention on that. I called Sam to see if we can do something about it. I guess they'll send a letter. I went through there yesterday. It's still block. So it's something to take because if accident happens, they're gonna.
Mr. Valido, we addressed it with public works. They were supposed to take care of it.
Okay. And then the other thing I noticed on Bingham, all the retentions have sandbags, I guess because of the construction, but if we get some rain, not that it rains a lot here, but I don't want to see the residents come into the meetings and that their house is flooded because of that. So just to remove them maybe.
Well, if it rains, we'll remove them, but it's more for debris, 2x4s or whatever it might end up. Believe me, it does.
Oh yeah, okay. Defeating the purpose of retention.
It's called stormwater pollution prevention plan. So technically, they can, the water can go through there. So.
Oh yeah, okay. That's all.
Councilman Gonzalez.
Yes, Mayor. I just want to mention that a sign has been placed on Jefferson and Chavez where the main entrance is going to be for the high school. Finally, a sign is there, and I like because it's in Spanish and English. It says students. It addresses the students directly that they're going to have their new high school finally, and so I just want to share that I know I was asked if we can put a sign in there, so it's already there. So I think it's like 4x8. It's a big sign with a picture of how the high school is going to look. And also, after a lengthy legislative session, the Yuma Union High School District will receive $16.5 million in fiscal year 2022, and additional $16.5 million in fiscal year 2023. These dollars amounts reflect an increase in the square footage funding formula. Both of these measures were in the budget signed by Governor Doug Ducey. And this is a win for our students and the community we serve. The allocation of dollars for high school in Somerton is a direct result of the leadership and support of the governing board members, elected officials, the Yuma High School District staff members, and countless stakeholders. Despite some months of our centennially unseen funding, meetings with the City of Somerton, McCarthy Construction, and Arcadius have been occurring on a regular basis. As a result of these meetings, the Somerton High School project has been progressing as planned and is still on track to open for 2023-2024 school year. That's all I have, Mayor.
Councilwoman Garcia.
To Councilman Gonzalez's high school information, I'd also like to add that the bond, there's still about 18 million in there too, along with whatever Governor Ducey approved. So we still have that from the bond. Our event for the vaccines this past Friday went semi-well. We had a lot of children showing up for their regular back-to-school immunizations, which is good. And the county has reached out to ask if they'll be able to hold on a monthly basis vaccine clinics here. So, they're interested in keeping our community up to date on their vaccines and as well as offering COVID vaccines. So it was a good event and they continue to work with us.
And I don't got nothing today. Is there a motion to go into executive session? So motion by Councilman Gonzalez. Second by Councilman Galindo. Those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. We're gonna have a 5-minute break and then convene here. Look at it.
Mayor, am I gonna call in or another Zoom link is gonna be sent?
They think you're gonna call in. Yeah, call in.
Juan, I'll call you.